Hey, how's it going, guys? And welcome back to another Stock Kings YouTube video. And today we'll be going over Nanodimension, ticker symbol NNDM. Now, they just had a huge earnings release last night after market hours. So we're going to be going over that and how it has affected the stock price leading up to that. Yesterday, we had about an 18% increase in their stock price, going from about $9 at open to about $11.10 and breaking in above this resistance and closing above as well. We'll also be giving a price prediction and some technical analysis about this stock so you guys know how to get in and how to play this stock moving forward. But before we get into that, I want you guys to go ahead, give a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you know whenever we come out with new videos. I always appreciate the love and support that I get on this channel, so thank you guys so much for that. And I also have my Instagram linked down below where I post updates and what's going on with this channel if you guys are interested. But moving on, let's get into this daily chart. Let's have a look here on what's going on with Nanodimension. Obviously, as I said, we have a huge green bullish candle coming up, breaking above this resistance at 1055. And we're here at pre-market. We're about 9:10 here, about 20 minutes before market open. It looks like we are coming in below our then support line right here. If we do open below this, it will become a resistance. It looks like people are selling off the news. So this stock price definitely jumped up leading into earnings, expecting good news. And now after, we have a lot of people selling this news. I talk a lot about after earnings, people sell off this news, trying to get in on that 18% increase. That's what investors do a lot of times after earnings. Earnings does not necessarily mean the stock price will go up. However, if you are long-term on the stock, you're willing to kind of go through this little dip in price because of people with weak hands selling off. But let's get in right into these earnings report right here. I have Nanodimension reports 2020 fourth quarter and full year 2020 financial results. They also had a conference call as well. If you're not aware of Nanodimension, you can watch my previous video on Nanodimension. I kind of talk about a little bit why so many people are in on NNDM, and they're basically a 3D printing company. They have huge contracts with, big companies, a lot of government contracts. Cathie Wood and ARK Invest have been buying up their shares a lot recently. They recently had a dip kind of following the market. But let's get into these results. So we have Nanodimension reporting revenues of around almost $2 million for the fourth quarter of 2020 and $3.3 million for full year 2020. They ended fourth quarter of 2020 with around 670 million in the bank, while total loss for the fourth quarter was around 17 million. This is kind of what they had to say about it. We ended 2020 with a strong balance sheet and 671 million in cash and bank deposits, thanks to the equity offerings we concluded during the year, and we have even strengthened it even more to a balance of nearly 1.5 billion, which is a huge number as of end of February 21. Says Yale Sandler, CFO of Nanodimension. We recognize revenues of 3.4 million, which is lower than last year due to the effects of this thing that happened, but better than what we originally expected. We are focusing our efforts on fulfilling our growth plan, but both internal through product development and R&D efforts. And that's a big part of their business is the products that they come out with and their research and development, as well as through external M&A activities. So here's some corporate updates that they wanted to cite. So during 2020, Nanodimension raised a total gross proceeds of 710 million in public equity offerings. So a big thing to note here is that this is from public equity offerings. This is, from people like Cathie Woods and ARK Invest, money coming in from stuff like that. So that's huge. They're basically having a huge influx of cash during this year, even though their revenues were far, below what they were in previous years, but citing that thing that happened, is definitely, it definitely hurt them. But in many ways, 2020 was a big year for Nanodimension, huge cash influx, a lot of big things happening for this company. but they also say the revenues for year ended December 31st were affected by the repercussions of that thing that happened. So that's a big citing for them as to why, they weren't as good as previous years, but they were definitely, I mean, it wasn't super far away. We can see here on the fourth quarter 2020 financial results that total revenues for the fourth quarter of 2020 were 1.9 million compared to, 1.977 in the fourth quarter of 2019. So we're not like super far off. We're about a $6,000 difference year over year. And then they had a 438,000 in the third quarter of 2020, and the changes are attributable to changes in of the Dragonfly LDM system, which is a technology that they developed. And then also they have a lot of expenses that they talk about in this thing, in this kind of bullet pointed section here. I won't go over all the expenses, but they basically have a lot of increased expenses from research and development, sales, general administrative, finance, and expense. I won't go into all of that per se, but just know that their expenses did go up for the fourth quarter. One thing I did want to know was net loss for the fourth quarter of 2020 was around 17 million or 20 cents per share compared to about 1 million or 35% cents per share in the fourth quarter of 2019, which is, it's tough. Again, it's been a tough year for Nanodimension, but in many ways it's been good for them as well because of that influx of cash, which they will then be able to reinvest in the business, keep the business going. There's talks of them acquiring another business as well. And, this kind of show of how much cash that they have on hand will definitely help them to be doing that. But let's talk a little bit about the full year 2020 financial results. Total revenues for the full year 2020 were almost, 3.3 million, almost 3.4, compared to about 7 million in 2019. This decrease is obviously, what they've been citing before. And then R&D expenses for 2020 were 9 million. And again, they talk about a lot of these expenses, kind of being increased, but that's okay. They're reinvesting in the business and trying to grow it. We're okay with that. And then net losses for the full year was 48 million or 1.13 cents per share compared to 8 million or 238 per share in 2019. But a balance sheet highlight I also want to point out is cash and bank deposits. Again, this is going to be huge for them because they are, talking of acquiring another business. They will also be able to get out a lot of this technology, create more of it with those R&D expenses as well, and then drum up even more contracts with, these huge companies. There's been talks of them working with car manufacturers as well. So those contracts will definitely work out for the best for NNDM. And also, I wanted to point out that shareholders' equity totaled $660 million as of December 31st, 2020. So that is a big difference, but that's okay. There's also a conference call that you guys can look at. I will link this document down below so you guys can check out the full thing. But I wanted to take a look again at this chart. Let's get into a little bit of the details on this chart. We can chart out some place for you guys for long-term and short-term. As you can see, we broke above into this zone, and I have these support and resistance lines from the last video I did. So if you guys want to see me charting those out, you can check that out on my channel. But definitely, it looks like we are going to be beginning today's market below our kind of resistance around 1055. So we do have a little bit of a sell-off on this news. But if we do come all the way back down to test this support, we will then be looking for either another sort of support to be created in this range, or come down to support, test this support, excuse me, and then come back up to test this resistance. If we do get a break above this resistance, we'll be then taking it around to the 50 EMA. Looking for a cross above there, and then to our next zone around 1686.87 at the highest point that it has been at, and then anything above that, we have a lot of empty wicks in that zone. However, I do think this company, with the cash that they have and ARK Invest and Kathy Wood's support, they have a great business, being in a great industry and with great contracts. I mean, working with these government contracts and defense systems, it's honestly looking really bullish for this company. So anything above this zone, I would definitely not take my full position out here. There's definitely a lot of room to grow for this company. But moving on, let's kind of look at a little closer view. Let's look at the 30-minute to kind of get some more day trades if you guys are interested in those as well. We are still slightly above this kind of 200 EMA. It looks like we are testing it currently. Honestly, we can probably move this support here and say, or then it's not a resistance, but still a support right on the 200 EMA, because it looks like the pre-market price is testing this kind of line here. We'll be looking forward to this either rejecting off of this, which I think is the most likely scenario. I do not see it closing below the 200 EMA unless we continue to get a massive, massive sell-off. But even then, we have the 50 EMA right here in this zone as well. So we could probably chart another line here on this 50. It was kind of a resistance as for these candles as well, but we'll use these two lines as support. If it does break below, we'll be looking for a test around here for day trades, because I think this stock with the earnings in the cash that they showed, I think there's going to be a lot of bullish momentum moving forward for this stock. But kind of to chart out what I'm thinking so you guys can know exactly what's kind of going on here, let's kind of look at some past price action as well. I think there could be a closer, definitely, we could probably say right here, based on this past price action coming up to resistance here, we'll use that as well. But for our day trades, we're going to plan on this kind of coming down here, testing the support, but it will not break below. We'll plan on that. And then our next price target will be at the resistance at 1182. So this will be our first kind of take profit here at 1182 with stops just below the resistance or the support here at 1123 on the 200 EMA. So if we do come and get a solid close below the 200 EMA, we are definitely not looking to be in this trade anymore. To enter this trade, we are looking for a solid close above here. We're looking for some bullish indicators, some good confirmations above this to, kind of let us know that we're going to be continue moving up in the, kind of short term here on the 30-minute. So we're looking for that, but if it does get a close below, we are not going to enter. And if it does come up and then come back down and close below, we will be closing our full position. Get out of it if you are, not looking to hold for the long term. However, if things do go our way, we get solid confirmations to go up, we continue up and then into our profit, our first price target of 1183, we will then be looking to increase our price target to our next zone here at around $13. So we'll be looking for that, and then we'll be moving. So price will be then here. We'll be looking for solid confirmations above this. But as you guys know, I talk a lot about this. We'll be looking for to move our stop loss up as well to ensure if it does reject off this resistance and come back down to break even. We do not want that to happen. We do not want to be in at that point. If you are looking for short-term plays on this, you then want to move your stop loss to make sure you're getting those gains in case price does not go your way. You want to make sure, you are in this, to make some money. But even after that, we can then look forward to our even further next price target of around 1687. And that is a huge price target. You guys could definitely, maybe even looks like based on previous price action, it looks like we have a nice little zone here. So we could probably go off the 1525 resistance based on this price action right here being a resistance point previously. We'll move this up to here. And then again, we're moving our stop loss to ensure profits. Trail your guys' stop loss just in case it does end up going the other way. And then we'll keep this pattern going. If we get a good break above this, confirmations to keep going bullish on the stock, move it up to 1687. So that is kind of the play and the pattern that I use to trade. And then, obviously, just to kind of point something out to you guys, if let's move this back actually. So I pointed this out in my last video, but I think it's important that more people hear about this. You do not have to wait until price hits your price target to move your stop loss. Let's say price is, kind of in this range around the $14 about to hit your price target. This is still a massive stop loss. And if you guys want to ensure that you're, keeping your gains and not entering into any lower, like you're not losing on any profits, I like to move my stop loss up to around the support, just in case, you know, if it does come back down to retest the support. You could even make it like a little lower if you want. But to ensure, you know, you're maxing out those gains as much as possible, you can move your stop loss prematurely and kind of just keep tweaking it until you find the right area of it and the price that you're comfortable of risking. So I think that is all I had for you guys today on Nanodimension. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found a value in this video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you know whenever we come out with new videos. And also, I have my Instagram link down below if you would be interested in that. But as always, I hope you guys have an excellent day. Go and get some gains in the market today, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.